I've also gone down the Godzilla rabbit hole again.
Isn't there a new
I
movie?
watched so much Godzilla shit.
There's that new movie out, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's American, so it's gonna suck.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't seen the 2014 one either yet.
The
American
one,
Godzilla is not good Godzilla.
the one with Walt White. Walt White makes everything
I have
good.
no idea. Who the fuck is Walt?
Fucking oh, why can't I think his name? Walt White from Breaking Bad.
Hal from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. Why can't I think of his
What the fuck is
name?
his name? Isn't it Daniel something?
No, that doesn't sound right. Hey, I have a computer in front of me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I got a laptop right in front of me.
Oh, from is not spelled with a G. How from Riverdale?
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, that's right. Look at them fiery fingers. Your ball, well, not fiery, but fast.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
From what I understand, he's in that movie for all of like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, he actually kind of has a significant role. It's like at the beginning and at the end. But yeah, he's the scientist that like found the problem. It was not a good movie. But I've never.
No, it's American Godzilla. It's not going to be a good movie.
Well, I mean, subjectively speaking, though, the Japanese version from the fucking 70s, 60s or 70s isn't a good movie either.
Well, here's something I just learned this afternoon. Godzilla is the longest-running movie franchise in history.
Is that right?
There are currently, with the new one that's in theaters or whatever, 35 Godzilla movies.
Oh, wow.
Number 36 is coming out next year.
So
They're rebooting Kong versus Godzilla.
So do you mean most number of installments or like time-wise, longest running series?
Time-wise. It's been running since 1954 with the very first Godzilla.
54. Wow.
But on the other hand, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has like 20-something, like 25, 26 movies, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Godzilla's at 35.
There's a bunch of... Marvel will overtake them in the next 2 years.
They put out at least one or two a year. Godzilla puts out a movie every couple of years, and then they've taken time off in between.
Yeah.
But like through like the mid-60s into the 70s, they're fucking off.
But do you remember what the oldest from our what episode was that? What the oldest nerddom is? Fandom is?
Phantom?
Huh?
Seems like you had said it. Sherlock Holmes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sherlock Holmes. So when did those movies start?
Movies or books?
The movies. The books are definitely older than Godzilla, but I'm saying them. Well, how old is the Godzilla story? Did it start with a movie?
Yeah. I think it started with the movie. There's comic books and animated things and stuff now too. What the fuck was I going to look up?
I don't know.
Sherlock Holmes movie.
So this is the Higher Minds podcast.
I'm Scott.
I'm Papa Darby. Scott is on location today. Actually, that's not entirely true. I'm on location. I just have the recording
You're
stuff.
out of town, but you're also the one recording. So
Right.
It's all kinds of fucked up.
So yeah, Scott's back home. Darby is not. Well, no, Darby is, but no, whatever. So,
according to this, the first Sherlock Holmes movie was 1939.
So then it's not the long. Then Godzilla isn't the longest.
Godzilla is one continuous story.
Oh, Is it? No.
They're all interlocked. Well, not a continuous story, but they're all intertwined and everything.
In a way that's different than Sherlock Holmes? Like, because this last one with Bryan Cranston was a complete reboot.
Right. And there's been reboots of Godzilla, too. Actually, I just ordered it because the YouTube made it look so fucking good.
Oh, yeah, Matthew Broderick was in one.
Godzilla.
Who?
What?
Matthew Broderick was in one in the 2000s. What did you just say?
The
Shin?
Shitty American one? The 1998 one?
That horrible one? I think I still have
not actually Godzilla one?
I think I still have a movie theater cup from Godzilla from that movie.
I think I saw that one at the drive-in, actually.
That'd be a good one. I mean, good genre storyline to watch at a drive-in. Not that movie.
No, it was a shit movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, what the hell's the topic today? We have gone...
It's not Godzilla. Are we talking about Godzilla?
Not Godzilla or Sherlock Holmes. We should do Godzilla. There's a ton of Godzilla info out there.
I have no idea. But today we are doing sonic weaponry, and specifically the apparent attack on the Cuban embassy in 16, 17, and 18. 2016, 2017, 2018.
And they're calling it the Havana syndrome, right?
Yes, Havana syndrome. Correct. Now, go into that and stuff when appropriate.
So, this whole Cuban shit has been going on since the 60s, basically. Like, it's not new. It's just new that we're back to Cuba.
You mean the our relationship with them?
The tension between the U.S. and Cuba, basically.
Yeah, it started with Castro.
Because at one time, Cuba was a vacation spot for Americans up until the late 50s, early 60s.
Right.
And then Cold War hit, and Bay of Pigs, and Cuban Missile Crisis, and all that. And
were they communists before that?
They weren't communist until Castro started putting communists in his party with him. They overthrew Batista, I think the guy's name was, the old regime.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And then Castro took over, basically, and he started putting, basically, like, his cabinet basically had commies in it.
So it was equal parts Castro and Guevara, right? Or am I wrong about that?
He was kind of the Himmler to Fidel's Hitler.
Oh.
Like, he was his right-hand man, kind of.
Oh, okay. I knew he was up there. He was, he's a legend now.
Yeah, he's up there. I mean, like I said, he was Fidel Castro's right-hand man for the longest time.
I'm curious, where do you fall on your opinion of Che?
Of who?
Che Guevara?
Che?
Yeah.
I think he's a murderous piece of shit.
Okay. He considered himself a freedom fighter, and he's a
freedom fighter that likes to kill a lot of innocent people. So I don't know how freedom fighting that is.
Can you extricate the two? Killing people and being a freedom fighter? Can you separate the two? Being a freedom fighter and the necessity of killing people?
There is... I don't know how I want to word this.
I mean,
there's justifiable killing, and then there is just slaughtering people. In a military, revolutionary sort of thing, if you're on the revolutionary side, and you're killing, say, political figures or soldiers or whatever, that's one thing. Che was going out and just killing homosexuals and minorities and shit, too. So that's not really the people that are in power that you're trying to revolt against.
I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't. Stick his name on it, or stick his face on a T-shirt, and he becomes a pop culture icon, and everybody forgets what he did.
Money, money, money.
Which is funny that they're making money off of a commie's face.
Yeah. I just want to go on the record as saying that killing for anything other than eating is bad. And survival, and defense.
Yeah. Yeah, defense and food.
In my opinion, those are the only justifiable killings.
Yeah.
But that also does extend, the defense part extends to capital punishment, in my opinion. I know where you stand on that, though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of capital punishment.
Or government.
The government fucks up enough. I'm not trusting them to say that this person for sure did what he was supposed to have done.
Yeah, well, and you start dissecting the
there
idea
are
of
some
capital
that
punishment, and yeah, it
should
sucks.
be hanged or whatever, electric chair, lethal injection, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think the government fucks up too often to trust them with killing people because they say that they're bad.
So you say the government, and yes, it is the government. They're the one that enforces it, but it's generally peers that sentence people to death.
It's still a judge, an elected official that
Yes,
makes
you're
it
right.
official, though.
And the judge is a person, but in that instance is not a person, is the government. So I get what you mean, but there is public opinion in those decisions too. Just saying.
And I agree that if you kill somebody, you should be killed in turn. But I don't
Depending
know
on the
who I want pulling that trigger.
Right. And that's where my problem is that I also think that there are some people that don't deserve to live, but yeah, it's not. I can't make that call, and nobody can.
Yeah, like.
Well, no, pedophiles and baby
somebody,
rape.
Or if you're out there fucking kids or whatever.
Yeah.
You probably don't need to be on this earth anymore.
Yeah. I'm actually yes. If you're fucking kids, you deserve to die. Fucking die. I'm okay with that. Prove it. Prove it first.
Right, yeah, without any doubt. Like, fucking video evidence or whatever. Although, with all this face swapping bullshit, you can't even really trust video evidence anymore.
Well, and you don't want video evidence of that either, because that's child pornography. And
I'm just saying, like surveillance or nanny cams or whatever.
Right.
Like, if you kill somebody and it gets picked up on a surveillance camera or a nanny cam or whatever, you obviously fucking did it. You know?
Yeah. Hey, what's our weed of the week?
I don't know what you're smoking, but since this episode's dropping on 7/10, I got a couple different concentrates going on right now.
What you got?
The one that I have found is my new favorite concentrate is called Hercules Dragon.
Where'd you get that?
And I bought it just because of the name, Hercules Dragon. That's
that
a
is
cool
pretty awesome.
Fucking name for a weed.
That's a sativa?
Say what?
That's a sativa?
Yeah, it's a sativa. I switched containers. I didn't like the container that it came in, so I don't have the numbers off of it or anything.
Oh.
I picked it up at NA a couple days ago. Natural
Alternatives for Health in Fort Collins.
Yep. And then I have some live resin here too. That doesn't have the name on the container anymore either. But it's some pretty decent stuff.
I love live resin.
That one is 74.59% THC.
Fucking balls. Concentrates.
But I don't have the name of it anymore. The name isn't on the container, but the percentage and shit is.
We can call it Hercules Dragon? Dragon Hercules.
The first one is Hercules Dragon.
We'll call them both Hercules Dragon.
Let's call this one Zeus's Unicorn.
Unicorn? All right.
Yeah, Zeus's Unicorn and Hercules Dragon. We'll say that's what I'm smoking today.
So are you going to post pictures of both of them for the weed of the week, or what?
I am actually just about out of the Hercules Dragon, but I got a little bit of the live resin left I can take a picture of.
All right.
What are you smoking on today?
Well, I'm not going to consider it the weed of the week because it was the weed of the week last week, but I got Mob Boss right now.
Oh, you're back to Mob Boss again?
Yeah.
That's good shit.
Yeah, it is good shit. It's not Golden Goat, but it's pretty good.
Golden Goat's hard to beat.
No, yeah, I don't. So I heard of this cookies and cream out in Oregon. It was pretty phenomenal, but other than that, I don't know. I've never had that, so I don't know. I can't compare. So you know what?
I might have had cookies and cream once.
From Oregon, or you just a strain?
No, from here in Colorado.
Okay.
It might have been cookies and cream. No, it was cookie dough. It was a wax I picked up one time.
Ew. I don't know.
Do
you remember that J we got that tasted like peaches or whatever, strawberries or whatever the fuck it was?
Yeah, that one's good.
That was very good, but it seemed like they sprayed the flavor on it. Like it was definitely not a natural flavor.
I think it was in the wrap, in the paper or whatever. I think the paper was flavored.
Well, hey,
it was decent.
Scott, let me tell you a little bit about what I found out in researching this attack. Well, this supposed attack. So,
Okay.
we haven't gotten any of this. So what?
Hey, pause 1 second.
Yeah,
Give me
pause.
1 second.
Pause.
Alexa, turn off Den. They got that light on a timer and it comes on at 6 every night, and I turn it off at 6:02 every night. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not sure I'm going to pause that, or I'm going to delete that. That might stay in. So the Cuban.
So in case that stays in, I'm house sitting for H&K this week.
Yeah.
So
They are in California.
they're in California for the 4th of July.
May they be safe. God bless California. And, we've heard about the earthquakes, right? They got a 6.8 and then a 7.1. And they've
the
had...
second one was 7.1. I saw the 6 point whatever the fuck.
Yeah, the second one was this morning's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then since the one from yesterday, they've had 1,400 aftershocks.
Damn.
Yeah. Like...
Well, that was before the whole Front Range here in Colorado was under tornado watches. That's like super rare this close to the mountains.
Yeah.
Normally that shit doesn't happen until you get farther out east.
Like significantly further. That
like
air pressure
Alt
like
area.
cap.
Yeah, out by the grasslands and everything.
So yeah,
and then we had a little bit of hailstorm last night and a hell of a thunderstorm. There's all kinds of fucked up weather going on.
you guys get hail all the time though. You guys have the worst hail I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I went out and checked my car this morning. Luckily, there's no dents on it.
Oh, your new car. Yeah, Scott just got a new car. It's very pretty. And
I traded in a busted ass Audi A4 with hail damage like a motherfucker from last year.
I mean, it wasn't
on
busted
a
ass.
New to me 2012.
Oh,
yeah, 2012 Lincoln.
Oh, is it 12? Okay.
Yeah,
it's nice.
2012.
I like it. I like it very much.
Mm-hmm. It smells like an old man. It's a one-owner car, and the owner that had it before me clearly smoked a pipe. So every time you open it up, you get a whiff of pipe tobacco, and it smells really good for a second, and then you get sick of it.
I smoke a pipe too, but it's a marijuana
so do
pipe.
Not the same time.
And my car may or may not also smell like marijuana. I hope it doesn't.
I'm gonna go with more than likely may.
I kind of don't think so. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm totally kidding.
That's like how people with cats don't think cats smell. People who ride around in stinky, smoky cars don't think they're stinky, smoky car smells.
Right.
If you own a cat, your house stinks. I don't care what you say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, all life is precious, but fuck cats. If you have a cat, we like you, but keep your cat away. Yeah. So, in August of 2012, reports started surfacing that people working in the U.S. and Canadian embassies in Havana started suffering from a variety of symptoms dating back to 2016. More recently, similar reports originated from U.S. diplomats in China in 2018. The symptoms include hearing loss, memory loss, nausea. There has even been at least one report of mild TBI, which is traumatic brain injury. That was
I read something about that. Somebody went and got an MRI, and there was damage showed up on the MRI.
Yeah. Then that diplomat was from China.
Right.
And
it seems like it's mostly just U.S. and Canadian diplomats that are being affected by this.
Yeah. What I mean is that was a U.S. diplomat in China. So
you cut out there. Say that again.
I said what I meant to say is that was a U.S. diplomat in China.
Okay.
So
I thought I had read something about a Canadian diplomat had gone in for an MRI in Pittsburgh, and they found some sort of brain damage from the sound weapons or whatever the hell they're using down there.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Canadians. I do know that the Chinese officials, I did read that they were all transported to Pennsylvania, but why not the Canadians? So, yeah. Also, these symptoms seem to be lasting. For instance, one of the victims still requires a hearing aid. So the suspected cause, at least at one point, and there has been differing reports depending on who you ask, is that this was due to the use of sonic weapons. It was a sonic weapons attack. So what is a sonic weapon? These are weapons of various types which use sound to injure, incapacitate, or kill an opponent. Developed sonic weapons can be described as sonic bullets, sonic grenades, sonic mines, sonic cannons. Sonic cannons. You remember the Hulk movie with Edward Norton?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that when he's in
They
the
really
university?
should have brought Edward Norton into the MCU. I was disappointed they switched him out for, what's his name, Mark Ruffalo?
Well, he was good though. Mark Ruffalo was
He's
surprisingly
good. Yeah, he's good, but
I do
the
like
Ed
Edward Norton
Norton
too.
one was a decent movie, and I think they should have gave him the character in it.
I've heard that he's extremely difficult to work with.
Is he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard. I don't know. You know, I
Right.
hate to judge like that because I don't know the motherfucker. But I think that's what I heard about him not being the Hulk anymore.
Okay.
And Eric Bana is just too big for his britches. Although I think Bana was pretty good too. Ooh, and Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, the Ed Norton one was better than the one that came out a few years before that one.
You know, that
with
dogfight.
Shitty, terrible CGI.
That dogfight was awesome, though. You remember that?
I don't remember that part.
He's
I only saw that one like once, maybe twice. I've seen the Ed Norton one a couple times.
Oh, okay. We actually just watched the Edward Norton one from my son and I started the Marvel movies chronologically.
Oh,
So,
yeah?
and actually, I think that is actually part of the MCU. So Ed Norton is in the MCU. He's just not the actor anymore.
That's why he should have continued to play the Hulk.
Right. Well, and
or they should have gave the Mark Ruffalo Hulk his own standalone.
well, Don Cheadle wasn't always Rhodes either. Rhodey.
Who?
What's in War Machine?
Oh, okay. Yeah, they switched him after the first Iron Man.
Yeah. And I
'Cause
understand
that was,
that's because Robert Downey Jr. and he didn't get along either.
Cuba Gooding Jr., didn't he play him in the first one?
No, that wasn't Cuba. That was the guy who plays in Empire. He plays Lucius Lyons in Empire, and I forget his fucking name. He was also in Mr. Holland's Opus.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
Richard Dreyfuss, whatever. Anyway.
Not important.
No, not really. Oh, one cool thing about the sonic weapons. One particular sonic, what I guess you'd call it a sonic bullet, is the brown note. Do you know what that is?
I do, and it seems like I've seen testing on this, and they can't find the actual brown note.
If it exists. I'm not sure that it's an actual thing. But for those who don't know what the brown note is, Scott, what is it?
It's a musical note that makes you shit your pants.
Poo-poo.
A
Uncontrollably.
sound frequency, I guess, is a better way of saying it than a musical note.
You lose control of your bowels and release.
Yeah. Semi-related, have you ever heard of contrabass?
The instrument?
It's a type of instrument. It's like a super low frequency. They make them in everything, like whether it's a trumpet, a tuba, bass, like an upright bass, whatever.
Yes.
And then there's another one that's even lower called subcontrabass, which can hit notes that the human ear can't even hear.
Okay.
YouTube contrabass saxophone sometime. I spent like a good half hour watching this shit a couple days ago.
Huh.
Yeah.
Crazy. I used to play sax.
Contrabass saxophone.
In fact, I used to play baritone saxophone.
Well, that's how I got onto it. I was watching some street performer playing a baritone sax, and then that turned into saxophone videos, and that turned into I found the contrabass saxophone, and that took me down a whole fucking contrabass rabbit hole.
How big is it? Like size-wise?
Huh?
How big is a contrabass saxophone?
Regular contrabass, they're about 6-ish feet tall, it looks like. And then there's sub-contrabasses, which are like 10 feet tall.
So where are the keys placed?
They're down low, like where they would be on a saxophone, and like in normal size and everything. They just have extra long connector pieces to go to the valves in it.
Interesting. I'm actually going to look up
There's
a picture.
Contrabass flute that I found too, which has something like 18 feet of pipe in it, I think is what the woman said. It's bizarre.
Wow.
I'll send you a link to it.
I'm actually looking at them now. Well,
are you? Okay.
Well, I'm looking at the headings now. I just pressed enter.
Yeah,
oh
they're
wow!
fucking
Oh
enormous
wow!
and crazy. Yeah. So if you're listening, Google contrabass saxophone or contrabass insert instrument of your liking here. They're fucking crazy.
Holy shit! A subcontrabass is taller than a story. A contrabass is about a story. So no, that's no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're
the
huge,
contrabass,
and
the
they sound
subcontrabass is a story.
cool as fuck.
I'll have to listen to that. Maybe we'll post something. You know what? Right here, let's pause. I'm gonna post some subcontrabass sounds. I'm actually gonna add some other audio later too, and we'll get to that when I get to it.
I like how this episode's supposed to be on Cuba and their spy weapon shit, and we've like talked about that topic for like 2 minutes, and we've been off topic the whole rest of the time.
Yeah. You know, a little bullshitting, a little information, a lot of stoned.
You've been out of town for a while. We haven't got to shoot shit in a minute.
Yeah. Shit, we bullshit for like 5 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah, before we even started recording.
Well, I'm saying when we started recording, it was like 7 minutes when we said Higher Minds Podcast. By the way, this is the Higher Minds Podcast again. You can find us at highermindspodcast.com.
What was that?
highermindspodcast.com.
highermindspodcast.com?
.com. highermindspodcast.com.
highermindspodcast.com.
Higher minds. Yes. Okay. So, sonic weapons, though, have been developed by various governments. I said governments. Did you hear that?
Uh-huh.
Governments. Anyway, they are used for deterring pirates, crowd control, and deterring teens from loitering in places like malls, and Hulk wrangling.
Yeah, the U.S. Navy has had sound weapons for crowd control for 10 plus years now, so it's not necessarily new technology. I watched a test they were doing with the U.S. Navy one.
I think longer than that.
Like a quote-unquote riot, like a practice riot, charging them, and they turned this thing on, and everybody just, like, they scattered. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like...
I don't know what it sounds like on the receiving end of that, but it fucking gets people to move.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being at a louder concert than the loudest concert you've ever been to. Mm-hmm. Or that's ever been. Yeah, I mean...
I'm not positive. It seems like I read something about Deep Purple had the loudest concert in history, actually.
You know what? That's look-upable. Good old Google. Loudest concert in history. Sleazy Joe? In 2008, the Swedish rockers did, holy shit, 143.2 decibels.
Damn. That is up there.
Man of War is second with 139.
I must have found the same list you did, because Kiss hit 136. I've seen Kiss before.
I've never seen any of these people. I want to see Sleazy Joe now.
Motorhead and AC/DC, Zeppelin, The Who. Deep Purple came in at number 10. 1968, they reached 117 decibels. Oh my God! 3 audience members are rendered unconscious.
Well, I can see why they'd be at 10 because your sound is muted when there is smoke on the water. That was a good joke.
Yeah, I got your Deep Purple joke.
Yeah. Everybody did and enjoyed it.
So the whole tension between U.S. and Cuba started back in the 60s. It's not anything new. The Bay of Pigs is kind of where this all started off. That was where the CIA was funding Cuban rebels to stage a revolution against Castro and the communists.
Well,
that failed pretty hard because of where they decided to launch it. The Bay of Pigs is kind of swampy, and there was a radio tower there too. So they got fucking stuck in the mud, and everybody saw them coming, and was able to alert people that they were coming. So it just failed. Fell flat on its face.
Yeah, I heard it was a pretty bad military blunder. Like, the person should have been shot. Whoever planned it.
And then there was Operation Mongoose, too. Do you know that one?
I don't, but before you go into that one, the Bay of Pigs were a result of the political atmosphere. So we had to have had tension before then, right?
Right, yeah. The Bay of Pigs was... I don't know how I want to word this. It went from just spying on each other and being tense to actual action being taken against one another.
Oh, Cold War-ness?
Yeah. Yeah, that was when the Cold War kind of got warmed up a little bit, I guess. But it was the CIA doing it through the rebels so that Russia wouldn't see that as an act of aggression from America directly. They kind of played Cuba's pawns for them, I guess.
Right. The same way they did in Afghanistan at about the same time. Or maybe
exactly.
A decade later or so.
Yeah.
Two decades later, I guess.
Armed rebels in Afghanistan that came back to bite us in the ass with the 9/11 attacks. So, and by we, I mean the U.S.
Right, not you and me. You and I are fine. Our asses have not been bitten unintentionally. Well, mine hasn't. I don't know about yours.
So along with the Bay of Pigs, there was Operation Mongoose.
What is that?
Operation Mongoose was a CIA operation to assassinate Castro and basically remove the Cuban government.
Kennedy kind of sucks, huh?
They had several assassination attempts. None of them successful, obviously, though.
The U.S. had several attempts?
Yeah, the CIA attempted to assassinate Castro multiple times, I guess.
No shit.
In order to remove the communists from Cuba.
I wouldn't think that they'd be incompetent at something like that. Well, I'm sure that it's not an issue of competence, and anybody from the CIA who may or may not be listening, I think you're awesome. I think you're totally competent. Keep on doing whatever you do away from me.
I mean, this is 1960 CIA, too. Like, height of the Cold War, they could get away with anything they fucking wanted to, basically. I mean, it's just like nowadays with the Patriot Act and terrorism, it's just an excuse to do the shit you were going to do anyways, just a little more openly.
Yeah, it was Eisenhower and J. Edgar Hoover. Well, J. Edgar Hoover did the FBI. Who was CIA?
I don't know who the director of the CIA was at the time. I know George H.W. Bush worked for the CIA for a little while.
Right.
About the time Kennedy got assassinated, too.
Oh, no shit.
So he might have been. Looks like Helms was the...
Who? Whom?
Helms became director of the OSO after CIA's disastrous role in the attempted Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961.
Oh. Who started the CIA? Who was the first
started
director?
The CIA?
Yeah. That was, that was Dulles, wasn't it?
William J. Donovan, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Allen Dulles, and Harry S. Truman.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So them and the NSA, yeah, they were all developed in order, like, as a way to be able to do whatever they wanted.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, the CIA isn't technically military, but they still kill people. So.
and they don't have much oversight,
Right.
and neither does the NSA. The FBI does, but that's because they are only supposed to operate domestically.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposed to. So
after all of this, we get into the Cuban Missile Crisis. How familiar with that are you?
I think pretty familiar. I haven't really
Okay.
done any reading on it other than like school reading, so maybe I don't know.
So Russia was sending offensive weapons to Cuba. Cuba sits like, I don't know what it is, 60, 90 miles off the coast of Florida. It's real fucking close. And they had intermediate and medium range ballistic missiles that they were building in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
October 14th, 1962, U.S. U-2 spy plane took photos that showed that they were building these ballistic missile sites that could absolutely reach most of the continental U.S. And they would be able to hit basically from Denver to New York, Denver to Washington, somewhere around there. Like, so the majority of the U.S. was reachable from these missile sites in Cuba.
Has there ever been a foreign missile strike on the U.S. besides the planes?
I know in World War II, a plane crashed in Washington State, and it seems like a German U-boat was hit somewhere off the coast of New York or something. I think I remember reading about one time.
Are you talking about the Lusitania?
No, it was a U-boat. It wasn't the ship that they sunk. The Lusitania is kind of what got us into it.
Right.
But no, I think I read something thing about a German U-boat being spotted in like the New York Harbor or some shit like that one time.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
But I don't think they've ever actually bombed us. We're too far away from most other countries to be a threat to us, really.
And we control from
With the
sea to
exception
sea,
of
so
Cuba, like in this situation.
right. Well, apparently Korea can reach us now, and of course every other country, developed country, can. Egypt, China,
I don't know if
Pakistan.
North Korea can reach the mainland. They can reach Hawaii.
No, they can reach the
I don't think they
mainland.
make it to the mainland.
Yes, they can. They can now.
They
They can make it to
haven't
New
had-
Jersey now.
North Korea can?
Yeah. From the other way.
Moving from the other way. Up and over.
No.
That's how the U.S. and Russia were set to blow each other up. It was up and over the poles instead of across the ocean.
Well, at least the maps on the news, the paths on the news showed they could hit both coasts from opposite directions on the globe. But okay, up and over, that works too.
That's the shortest way to do it.
Yeah. From North Korea?
I don't know about from North Korea, but from Russia for sure. That's why
Yeah.
they did it that way.
Yeah.
From us to Russia, the quickest way is over the North Pole.
Yeah. Or Alaska, as what's her face said. Oh God.
Well, you
Palin.
figure, I don't know where Russia's silos were at. Most of the U.S. ICBMs were in like Kansas, Nebraska, central U.S.
You got some right there next to you too, in the Rockies. That's where
Mhm.
NORAD is.
Mm-hmm. And Wyoming had some sort of a first alert system up there. Where the hell was I? Not Wyoming, Montana. I used to travel for work. I was in Montana for a couple weeks on a job, and I
I've
could
never been there.
see Canada from my hotel window. That's how far fucking north I was. I could
Nice.
see Canada from my hotel window. And whatever the hell little podunk town we were in had some sort of a early warning system back in the day to catch ICBMs coming from Russia, like an early warning system or some shit.
Cool.
So with the Soviets giving Cuba these missiles, or giving Cuba the means to build these missiles, Kennedy assembled the Executive Committee of the National Security Council. Initially, they wanted to bomb Cuba because that's America's answer for everything, it seems like.
Yeah, we got a lot of hammers.
Kennedy held him off on October the 22nd of that year. Kennedy ordered a, quote, naval quarantine of Cuba. This differs from blockade because a blockade requires a state of war. So by changing the words, it makes it okay, I guess.
Oh, I didn't realize that was like a legal term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a blockade is some sort of a wartime thing, or a quote-unquote naval quarantine. It doesn't have to be wartime.
Oh, I didn't know that.
My grandpa was in the Navy during this time, and he was on a destroyer off the coast of Cuba.
Oh, that'd be scary.
As part of this naval quarantine, they called it.
Your grandfather still around?
You say what?
Your grandfather still around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lives in Ohio. He's 80. He's 80. He'll be 81 this year.
Did you get a chance to talk to him about this for this episode?
I've talked to him in the past about it before.
Does he
my dad and my grandpa were both sailors, and
oh, really? Okay.
One of me and my brother's favorite things to do is to just get the two of them in a room and nudge them towards the Navy story things and just sit back and listen. Those two will trade Navy stories for fucking hours, and me and my brother just sit and listen to them.
Yeah, my parents are Marines, and a lot of my family were Marines, and there was some stuff that they would talk about, but my father was in Beirut when it got bombed, and he also worked for the NSA.
Okay.
And
okay.
He had a tough go of it. He ended up retiring. He spent 20 years. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he didn't want to talk about, and a lot of stuff that he couldn't talk about too. Government sanctioned information.
My grandpa was in during the early 60s, like I said, during the whole Cuban Missile Crisis thing. My dad was in the late 80s.
Yeah, that's when my dad was in.
When they were bombing Libya. He was sitting in the Mediterranean bombing Libya when Gaddafi was saber rattling or whatever you want to call it, running his mouth.
Penis rattling. That's what I want to call it. Because everything,
so
everything felt like
Cubans actually shot down a U-2 spy plane, too.
A what?
Yeah.
What?
During this whole time period, I don't know how. I thought they flew high enough that they were unreachable, but apparently not. The Cubans shot down a U-2 plane.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, I thought they were designed specifically not to be able to be hit.
Yeah, I always thought they flew high enough up that they were unreachable, but apparently that's not the case.
It was just a really good shot.
Robert Kennedy, JFK's brother, he was the Attorney General at the time. He met with a Russian ambassador and made a deal with them to remove the nukes from Cuba. In return, the U.S. would remove some missiles from Turkey. So, from what I read, the U.S. is already planning on removing these missiles from Turkey anyways. So, basically, he just talked the Russians into taking the missiles out of Cuba that we wanted out, and we just did what we were going to do anyways.
Huh. So, now that you're laying it out like that, the series of blunders surrounding that and the subsequent accidents that these two men had makes sense.
There's a lot of conspiracy theory about Cuban involvement in the assassination of both JFK and Robert Kennedy.
Well, I'm saying, yes, I've heard that, but I'm saying from within as well. I mean, if they were making these mistakes, could they be trusted as leaders?
I mean, I think you already know my opinion on that one.
Yes, I did. Yes. But you know what I mean. Right. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, there was another op here, Operation Northwoods. Do you know that one?
No, I
don't.
That
one's one of the more popular ones.
No, I don't.
That was 1962. Basically, the U.S. would commit terrorist attacks on U.S. citizens and blame it on Cuba in order to garner support for a full-on invasion of Cuba.
I didn't know what the operation was called, but I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. Kennedy shot this one down, but just the fact that they thought this up in 1962 kind of makes you stop and wonder about more recent things and if maybe they're doing that shit again. Like Operation Northwoods opens up a whole thing about conspiracy theories. Like,
I operate under the assumption
they've already talked about doing that. Any attack could possibly be a false flag. Like,
yeah,
it's on record that they were planning on killing U.S. citizens to gain support for an invasion of Cuba anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe they did that to get us into the Middle East?
Maybe. Well, I mean, they obviously they did blame it on the wrong country and the wrong group to get us into the Middle East, so it's not a far stretch.
I mean, they found, was it Saudi passports and we invaded Afghanistan, right? Isn't that how that worked?
Yeah.
Well, fuck, we invaded Iraq and they didn't have anything to do with it.
But I simply operate under the assumption that if you think the government could possibly do it, they already did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, whatever you think the government is capable of, they did that 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. All the weapons that you haven't thought of yet, DARPA already has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That kind of wraps up my Cold War end of things. I just got brief points on a couple key U.S.-Cuban relations things there. Worth this piece of knowledge, before Kennedy signed the, I'm going to say embargo, but I don't know if that's the right word. Before Kennedy stopped imports from Cuba, he imported Cuban cigars and then signed the thing. So he had fresh cigars before.
No way.
Saying that you couldn't bring them anymore. And, yeah.
What a douche.
Yeah, I saw, I don't know if it was Antiques Roadshow or that pawn shop show or what the fuck it was. Somebody had a Kennedy cigar box, one of the ones that he brought from Cuba, and it was worth stupid money.
Like, how did you, like, a ballpark?
I want to say tens of thousands. I could probably find it here.
Wow. Okay.
This whole you recording leaves me a free laptop that I can search things on. I like this.
Just so you know, it also, if you notice the quality improving at about 45 minutes, I just turned off a fan. I forgot that it was on.
I got a ceiling fan on.
Are you?
I don't know if you can hear it, but it's hot as balls in here, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it on.
Yeah. I mean,
house sitting in July for a place that doesn't have air conditioning was not the smartest thing I ever agreed to.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
like my place has AC.
Well, I mean, Loveland is not that hot of a place either, though. It's like,
what are we at, right?
I remember it being like 80, 90 and it feeling just fine there. I love the humidity in Colorado.
Oh, here it is. That Kennedy cigar box is on Pawn Stars. See if I can find a price on it. I guess it stayed under 90 here today. It's not that damn hot.
Did you say 890?
No, it stayed under 90 here today.
Oh, it stayed
$300,000 according to PawnStarsTheGame.com.
I'll take 4.
Yeah, $300,000 for a Kennedy cigar box.
Wow. Yeah. I wonder who has one.
Pawn Stars The Game has one, apparently.
I'm sorry, whom?
I don't think this is for sale here. This is just a fan website for the show Pawn Stars. I found that, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But they're saying that they're asking $300,000 for that cigar box.
Interesting.
That's ridiculous. Here's another one. JFK cigar box sells at auction for $8,250, according to the Washington Times.
That's a bargain.
Article dated 2017.
8,000? That's a ripoff right there.
Yeah, $8,250.
Huh.
You could have bought yourself a JFK cigar box in 2017.
Huh. So,
anyways, let's get some modern stuff. What's going on in Cuba now?
bringing it back up to time. So, because of this event, the apparent sonic attacks, 2 Cuban officials were expelled from the U.S. Moreover, a warning was issued to U.S. government officials in China about a possible sonic attack due to the other symptoms that U.S. officials were having in China. The health problems typically...
So this kind of ties in with that episode we did with China and Assange and all that shit.
It kind of does. Well, yeah. I mean, there's no evidence, and of course there wouldn't be, of them participating in anything like this. But yeah, it's weird that it happened in Cuba and China. I haven't heard of it happening anywhere else. Or to anybody else.
From what I've read, it sounds like it's mostly China and Cuba doing it, and it's mostly American and Canadian people who are being affected by it.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Regarding the Havana syndrome, the health problems typically had a sudden onset. The victim would suddenly begin hearing strange grating noises that they would perceive as coming from a specific direction. Some of them experienced it as a pressure or a vibration, or as a sensation comparable to driving a car with the window partly down. The duration of these attacks ranged from 20 seconds to 30 minutes, and always happened while the diplomats were either at home or in hotel rooms. Other people in nearby locations reported hearing nothing of the sort. So, like, people around them, like in different rooms, or even right next to them, didn't.
Yeah, it sounds like it was very pinpointed.
Yes, extremely. So the Associated Press released a recording of the sound. I heard the sound, and I will play it for you here. What do you think of that sound? It was great. The Cuban officials claimed...
See, I actually listened to that sound clip when I was researching this, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will add it too. I'll edit it in.
Yeah, it'll get added in post or whatever. Yeah, I do actually know what sound you're talking about because I've seen this clip.
So the Cuban officials claimed that the noise was from the Jamaican field cricket. The Cubans are saying that the affected are suffering from psychogenic illnesses or mass hysteria, or hypnosis, or suggestion, and or whatever you want to call it. But
I read into that just a little bit too, and from what experts in that field are saying, all these symptoms could be just suggestions, basically.
Could be, yes. But I mean, I've went back. Experts seem to go back and forth, seem to disagree about the event.
Right.
So a possible cause postulated by American scientists was infrasound, which is what you were kind of talking about earlier, low frequency sound.
That's exactly what I was talking about with that contrabass, actually.
Yeah, or more over the subcontrabass.
Yeah, subcontrabass. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it gets down low enough where we can't hear it.
Yes. So infrasound, or low frequency sound, is a sound that is lower in frequency than 20 hertz. The study of the sound goes from 20 hertz to 0.1 hertz, and sometimes 0.001 hertz. And that is incredibly low, and don't try. The author of Outbreak, the Encyclopedia of Extraordinary Social Behavior, and an expert in the field of mass hysteria and mass psychogenetic illness, Robert Bartholomew, believes the Cuban incidents are an example of mass hysteria. As reported in Newsweek on October 13th of 2017, he said, "I am convinced that we are dealing with an episode of mass psychogenetic illness and mass suggestion. If these same symptoms were reported among a group of factory workers in New York or London, I think you would get a very different diagnosis, and there would be no consideration to a sonic weapon hypothesis." The federal government, the American federal government, placed the blame on Cuba, however. The affected don't seem to be sure that it was an intentional attack. They're not ruling it out. Nobody's ruling it out, but the only people who are claiming to be sure is the federal government. But because of this event, the embassy in Havana is now operating with minimal staff. And because there is minimal staff at the embassy, a travel advisory has been issued for U.S. citizens traveling to Cuba.
I think Canada dropped theirs down to just a bare bones staff there too.
Yeah, I believe so. There was information on Canada, but it's Canada, so I didn't copy it down. So on January 9th of 2018, the U.S. State Department Medical Director, Dr. Charles Rosenfarb, testified to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that he had all but ruled out mass hysteria as a cause of the strange illness that has sickened 24 U.S. Embassy staff. So, I don't know. I gave you guys information. Scott gave you guys information, and we don't know.
There's also, along with the sound thing, there's speculation it might be microwave weapons too.
I hadn't heard. I didn't see that at all. Microwave? Well, that would have a different reaction, though, wouldn't it?
I would think so too, but it's all shit that is beyond my knowledge, so I don't know for sure. I think it was the Army. Yeah, the U.S. Army has a electromagnetic. Let's see if I can find the. They call it an electromagnetic crowd control device.
What's it do?
It has similar effects from what this Havana syndrome thing is. Not so much the auditory end of it, but the headaches and kind of a burning sensation and shit like that could be attributed to electromagnetic weapons. Something, and I'm sure there's some science person that has already debunked this, but to me, it almost sounds like the reaction you get from being around electromagnetic fields. If you've ever been around somewhere with high power electricity, you're in an electromagnetic field. Those have been known to cause headaches and mild hallucinations and just a general uneasy feeling. So that could possibly have something to do with this too.
Interesting. So it sounds like the electromagnetic weapon would target the brain and its functions and like the electrical workings of your body rather than like the mechanical
basically.
auditory stuff.
You can feel it like if you've been around like a Tesla coil and you can feel the hair on your arms and everything stand up.
Mm-hmm.
That's electromagnetic field that is kind of fucking with you there. And it just makes your whole body kind of tingly, and some people report that it feels like somebody's watching them if they're in a field with a high enough electromagnetic static in it. Like it just makes you feel uneasy from what I've read. It makes you feel like you're being watched. It gives you headaches. Like
like that feeling you get when somebody's like looking at you, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Supposedly, electromagnetic fields do something with your brain or whatever that give you that feeling that somebody's looking at you. EMF symptoms, electromagnetic field symptoms. Chronic high levels of low-frequency EMF exposure can result in insomnia, anxiety, depression, brain fog, dizziness, and vertigo.
So one weapon is analog and one is digital.
Like pains and aches in your muscles, eye symptoms such as burning sensations. So some of this overlaps with what's going on down there.
Yeah. Interesting. So, I don't know. I don't think...
It can't all be caused from just shitty wiring. Like, there are some houses with old wire, like the old knob and tube wiring, and if you have an EMF detector, you can feel, it'll go off as you get closer to the walls and shit. So if this hotel that they're putting all these ambassadors up in has shitty wiring, maybe. Like,
yeah, that doesn't explain the targeting, though.
No. But, I don't know, throwing out alternative ideas here.
Right.
We don't know if it's sound, if it's
Fucking
microwaves, if it's electromagnetic. We don't know what the hell's going on. It could just be suggestion, like you were saying a second ago. It could just be one person felt shitty, said it was this, and that it planted that idea of a seed of an idea in all these other people's heads.
And the idea of a seed.
He's got a whole bunch of hypochondriac ambassadors or whatever the fuck going on down there.
Well, they also all work for the federal government, and the federal government is the only entity that is specifically accusing them. Although that is a reversal from their original position. They didn't think that at first. So, I don't know. They know more than I do.
I don't know. You don't know. They don't know.
I think they
As
know.
of right now, this is still a complete mystery. It's just speculation at this point.
I think somebody knows.
Somebody knows. If something's actually going on, somebody knows.
Right. If it was in...
If this is all shit in somebody's head that just keeps on getting passed around or whatever, then nobody knows.
See, the thing is, though, if it was just some shit in somebody's head, then that means it was intentionally propagated, and that means that somebody would know then, too. This could be a false flag as well.
It could.
Oh, one thing...
It could just be a way to rile up tension between the U.S. and Cuba again.
Yeah. Although I don't see... I don't see all the pieces, but I don't see why that would be beneficial. I also wanted to say that, so when I first heard about this, it was a scary thing, because how do you defend against like a sonic weapon? But then I started thinking, all you would need to do is have some sort of sound generator that provides a wave function that is opposite to the other, or to the attacking wave, which would collapse a wave and render it neutral. So you would have like a sound
There
armor.
are some pretty advanced noise-canceling headphones out there right now, or noise-canceling earmuffs, that actively pick up the sound outside the earphones and play the opposite inside. I don't know how the fuck it works. Some cars have that shit now, too.
So that would help you with your, like, that local area, your ear and inner ear right there. But what the sound wave actually does to your body, the physical movement it causes to your body, wouldn't be the earphones.
Right, because it can still resonate through your sinus cavities and everything, too.
Right.
Like, or just the waves themselves hitting your body.
Yes, right. Because sound itself is, I don't know if anybody knows, but sound is varying pressures in air. So it's like a physical phenomenon.
Right. Oh, circling back to the contrabass thing.
Yeah.
If you look up a contrabass bass, like an upright bass, the strings are so fat and the frequency is so low that you can see the waves in real time. You know how normally you have to, like, do slow-mo video to see guitar strings vibrate?
Oh, you mean like you can see the sine function?
So big and slow that with the naked eye, you can see the waves in the strings.
Like the sine function?
The what?
The like on a graph, the up and down curve?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like if you look at an analog sound wave or whatever.
Or fucking Audition or
that
Audacity.
in the strings.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
I'll send you the link to it. Yeah.
Yeah, post that link.
Bullshit.
Yeah, we're going to have to post a bunch of ancillary informations and stuff.
Contrabass is an interesting. I just found it last night, and I like music, but I'm not a musician. But I have family members that are, so I understand the shit. Like,
do you play anything?
I can't make music, but I understand it.
Have you ever played anything?
I played drums for a little bit. My dad and my brother are both drummers, but I don't know. It wasn't for me. I played bass for a little bit. It's just not my thing.
Can you read music or chords or progressions or anything?
I can read rhythms, but I can't read notes.
Like a drummer.
Because I learned how to read music playing percussion.
Yeah.
So,
quote unquote
I can
music.
read rhythms, but I can't read notes. Oh, fucking more worthless knowledge.
Yeah.
Godzilla's sound, his little roar thing.
What?
Do you know what that is? The Godzilla sound.
I know it's a bunch of different sounds put together. I know one of them is a train whistle. That's all I know.
The original sound, the 1954 sound, was a waxed glove sliding down the strings on an upright bass.
That was the only sound?
And now that I know that, I can hear it.
I can't hear Godzilla's roar right now.
Yeah, that high-pitched roar thing that he has. It's a glove with wax on it sliding down the strings of an upright bass.
Interesting. I wonder who came up with that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you ever look into how they make sound effects for movies, especially the old shit, it's really interesting stuff.
Oh, the old shit is fucking genius. The stuff now, everything's digital. Everything's easy. Fucking, we're doing this shit. Back in the day, you'd have to press a record.
Jurassic Park was a combination of air brakes on a bus, I think a lion, and an alligator or some shit. Like,
I think that's what I'm thinking
but
of.
how the fuck do you figure air brakes on a bus makes the right sound for what you want?
I mean, there's just sound nerds out there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And the way, like, a musician's mind, and I assume the sound engineer's mind works, is way different from the rest of us. Like, my dad and my brother think way differently from how I think, just because they have that musical background.
They say that music organizes thought mathematically.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's really what music is just math.
Yes, it is. But you know my feelings about math. Everything's math.
That thing I sent you with the... How the hell did it go? Tool is just sugar without teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's funny because it's true.
It is. I mean, they're both, I call them math metal. There's a separate genre for them, but just super intricate shit, but Meshuggah screams and Tool doesn't.
So, that reminds me. Tool's new album is supposed to come out this September, so I'm a big fan of Tool. I love Tool. I know all of their songs. I know all of their lyrics. I know most of their history. So now that I have a podcast, I decided that I am going to do an album review. And Scott is going to do it as well with me. I think we're going to do an intro episode. We'll do an outro episode, and then each song will have its own episode.
See, and I'm not a huge Tool fan. I listen to whatever's on the radio or whatever, but I've never put a Tool album in and listened to it beginning to end or anything like that. So this might be interesting.
There is few Tool albums. There's Undertow. I have a problem with like sitting all the way through, but all the rest of their albums rest of their albums I can just put on and listen to the whole thing, even today.
Ian, it's not really my type of, like, I listen to rock music. I listen to everything really, but Tool just never really piqued my interest. Like I said, I like the 46 and 2 or whatever, like the radio play shit.
Right.
But that's it. Like, I've never dove into them before. You're into a lot of that style of shit, though. Tool and A Perfect Circle and that type of rock.
I have pretentious musical tastes.
I tend to lead more industrial rock as far as my
I've noticed that
listening goes.
Like, I was expecting what's his name? Oh shit. I'm sorry. What's his name? Scroll?
Oh, Scold. SKOLD.
Yes.
Tim Scold.
Yes. I was expecting him to be more metal, but he's more industrial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he started out as a 80s hair band and then went industrial and kind of never looked back.
I hate hair music. Oh my god, I hate it so much.
It's bold.
That in fucking country. Oh. I just heard that. That's pretty funny.
He finally comprehended.
Yeah, I'm a stoner. Whatever. Oh, you know what? Let me make a correction too. What did I say before?
When?
You texted me today.
Oh yeah, I was listening to the one that you posted last episode, You had misspoke and said that Elon Musk was from South America when he's from South Africa.
South Africa. My bad. I knew that at the time. I'm a stoner. You're listening to a fucking stoner podcast, so deal with it.
It's because he's white. You racist.
I'm going to cut that shit out. I'm not going to say that.
A white guy being the wealthiest African American.
Oh, damn. Wait, no, he's not American. He's still South African.
Does he have a U.S. citizenship? I don't know.
You know what? Let's look that up.
He lives here in the U.S.
We should fucking know that. We did an episode on him. Well, we did a fucking Epic Rap Battles episode of him. Elon Musk citizenship. Yep, American, Canadian, and South African.
Elon Musk became an American citizen in 2002.
No, he is an African American.
Yep, he's the richest African American.
Yes.
Take that, Oprah. And he's actually African.
Yeah. That really fucks with your sense of identity. Mine, not yours. You're fine.
Well, you want to get real fucked up. North Africans are Arabs. Like,
well, Arab is a religion, though.
Well, yeah, I guess Arabian, Arab. I don't know.
No, that's not. No,
Middle Eastern.
It's nationality. Sorry, Muslim is a religion. I'm fucking stupid. See, I say wrong shit all the fucking time. That's why you come to us for accuracy.
You get up towards Egypt and shit, and they're just Middle Eastern looking up there.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people comprehend how big Africa is.
Africa's like as big as Asia and Europe together, I think. Like, it's the biggest continent.
I saw a map a while back where it laid other countries over top of Africa, and like, you can fit a shit ton of countries in Africa.
Yeah. And that's one of the problems that the at least the African American community has, is that like when it's depicted as a lot more diminutive than it actually is, and it's not given the credit that it's
9
due.
times out of 10 when you think Africa, you think the safari part of Africa, like lions and fucking zebras and shit.
And Elon Musk.
Yeah. Then there's like the fucking.
Did you say lions and beavers?
Huh?
Did you say lions and beavers?
Lions and zebras.
Zebras. I thought you said beavers.
I'm pretty sure I said zebras. There might be beavers in Africa. I don't know.
Freudian slip. Yeah. I got beaver on the brain. So yeah, this has been a Higher Minds podcast. Scott, where can you find us?
I'm in Colorado. You are at some mystery location right now.
You don't know.
But you can find our show at highermindspodcast.com.
Yes, highermindspodcast.com.
We're also on Facebook.
We're on Facebook.
Twitter.
We are on Twitter.
Instagram.
Have you heard of Instagram? We're on it.
Gmail. highermindspodcast@gmail.com.
highermindspodcast@gmail.com.
Where else are we? YouTube, SoundCloud.
We're on YouTube and SoundCloud. Oh!
Did you get us up on the other shit yet?
So that's.
I know you're working on it this week.
I'm working on it, and we are just kind of waiting on hearing him back, but I'm just going to publicly say that we're trying to get on Stitcher, so hopefully we'll be accessible to everybody everywhere.
Once we get on Stitcher and iTunes, we'll be able to be basically anywhere, I think.
Yes. I mean, anybody can download SoundCloud as well, but...
Yeah. Yeah, but I think a lot of the other, like the third-party podcast apps run through Stitcher.
Yeah,
and,
like...
I think.
I have a podcast app that I use, and yeah, it's you can't find us on there.
Yeah.
But we should be able to pretty soon.
Good. We've been working on that off and on for months now.
Yeah. And actually, I'm on vacation for my day job, so I've had time to do it, although I've actually been busy with a bunch of other shit, too. So, yeah, I went on vacation.
Doing anything fun with the kids, or what?
I mean, I hung out with them the whole time. We played a bunch of video games, watched a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had good quality time together. We didn't go anywhere like we typically do, which is nice. I didn't want to fucking travel
Sometimes
anymore.
just hanging out and playing video games is the better way to do it.
Yeah, and it's not like I get much time to do that with him anyway. So, yeah.
How the fuck are they going to do the next Xbox? Because they've gone Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One. Do you go Xbox 4, or do you go Xbox 2, or do you just make up a new one?
Xbox Beyond. I don't know.
Xbox, the next generation.
They're going to start calling him, name him after Star Trek franchises.
That's like I named my fucking horses on Red Dead after dumb shit. My
What's yours now?
replacement horse is H2 Judgment Day.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got, what the hell's the... Oh, my other one is Return of the Horse.
That's funny. Oh, excuse me, I got a little
My
cough
first
here.
horse was named Horse, and I hated him, so I got rid of him and I got H2.
That's funny. Well, so this has been HigherMindsPodcast.com. Thank you for listening. I'm Papa Darby.
I'm Scott.
Deuces.
Deuces, everybody.